Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I know it's been a while, but we are back with episode 4 of the Apex School of Drift. We are back on Willow Springs International Motorsports Park, which is where we've been doing a lot of the early testing. We are going to be doing today, specifically, learning your first section, primarily, is the thing. Now, there's two examples of the line that we're going to be running, and I'm going to show you that right now. I just need to... I'm going to drive it one time just so you've got an example of the line, and then we're going to break it down into smaller pieces. So, we're on the reverse layout just because it makes it a little quicker to get to for this. Now, there are two lines that are going to be popping up on show, on screen, 1 and 2. We're going to be using number 1, which is the more regularly used line in public lobbies and stuff. So, that's what we're going to go for. And there is actually a loop variant of this section as well, but for now we're just going to break it down to the easier version. So you're going to start out to the right side. You're then going to make your way in towards this inside curb. You're then going to start going sort of mid-track and make your way out to the right side of this track. This is where you'll get the power on, get the wheels spinning up, and then you're going to chuck it down into this decel area where you're going to slow down a little bit, go wide without going into these cones, preferably, then come over to this apex, then you're going to make your way back over to the right side onto this outer edge of the track, and then hold it through and then go wide. Again, you saw us use this line in previous episodes, but this is the line that we're going to be using. The alternative to this is that you actually double inside. You stay on this side of the track when you come out. Instead of going wider out for these cones out on the right side, you actually end up coming to this inside here. And then you go inside instead. The only reason why most people don't run that line is just because it's a bit plain. There's not much to it. We're going to try and use a bit more of, you know, speed up and slow down. Now, if we're using the S14 that was provided in the basics tutorial, which is what we are using, we're going to be doing 3rd gear for initiation down up to 4th gear, I think. I'm going to triple check, but you'll find out pretty soon anyway. I'm going to jump into the VR. We've got revs. Cool, there we go. Right, and we're just going to make our way down. 1st, 2nd, 3rd. Missed the gear because no warm-up. We're going to just clutch kick it in 3rd gear, and we're going to break it down. I'm just going to show how the line works one time. Yeah, this thing does not have a lot of power, but it's fine. 3rd gear. Transition over. And you want to carry outside to outside once more, just using 3rd gear to start. And then going out again once more. Now, realistically, I think it would probably be better if we used 4th gear going out of the 1st corner. Reason being for that is then you've got a bit more power, because this is a low turbo setup, so all of your power is in the lower end of your in the lower end helps, you know, it's sparking up, but the higher end will carry itself pretty well. So that was how it works, but we're going to break it down. So first things first, you've obviously got the first sort of double inside to the outside, which is what we're going to break down first. So 4th gear, get the car tipped in, clutch kick it up, and then just maintain high throttle just to keep the car spun up. And it should be one smooth, consistent corner. Next step is actually, we'll carry the similar sort of speed just from here. So we get the car up to speed. And this will be a situation where you're going down to 3rd gear. So you'll go down to 3rd gear. you'll brake a little bit to get it into this outer part here, and then transition back over. Go to fourth gear again, maybe? No. Oh, yeah, it wanted it. Took a little while, but it wanted it. And then fourth gear for the exit, absolutely. So just breaking it down into a couple of smaller chunks absolutely helps a lot, especially when it comes to, at the end of the day, it's not always the easiest to, you know, just do one run and figuring it all out, but just knowing where your braking points are and where you're getting on throttle and where you may be changing gears. If you're changing gears and you're on clutch, try and change gear during a transition. It's just a bit smoother. That way also you're not, you know, you're not gaining any speed sometimes, most of the time during transition. Most of the time you're kind of staying at around the same speed as you start the transition. So if you change gear there, that's where you're going to have the smoothest gear change generally. And then, yeah, so fourth gear, break it down into this first corner. Try and hold it somewhat middle line, out to the outside. Hold the power down all the way through. Fourth gear, a little bit of brake just to get it out to the outside, down to third gear. And then we're going to go back up to fourth gear, hope the engine holds, maybe take a little bit of steering out, a little bit of foot brake just to keep it in the outside. And then holding the throttle nice and high just to make sure you get all the way through the section. But again, we'll the big thing here is just making sure that you're carrying enough throttle in this car particularly. In an easier car, it's going to be a lot easier to maintain that throttle. The downside of it is that you may actually find that if you have a higher horsepower car with more grip, for example, you're going to end up carrying in with a lot more speed. In those cases, you're going to have to slow down more. It's a pretty common sense thing. If you've got more speed, you're going to have to slow down more for certain places, unless you've got the grip to, you know, carry the speed. But for now, what we're just focusing on is the actual approach to learn a section. So just focus on your initiating at the same point or a similar point. I initiated a little early there. You can see I had to back off a lot. Maintaining that smooth arc through there. It wasn't smoothest that time, I'll be honest. But then transition over, a little bit of foot brake. Drag that front wheel if you can. And it doesn't matter if you don't go up a gear here. You can do this with third probably just as much. May have over-rotated a little bit, but you can hold third the whole way. It's just, this car is not the most powerful. If I did this in a more powerful car, this would be a lot easier of a section to do. This transition over into this outside zone, you may find that you find yourself coming inside very easily. It's just the car doesn't have a lot of power, so it has a lot more tyre resistance to spinning. It wants to grip up a lot more. It's just going to stop the car from rotating more than you'd want it to, especially in a beginner car. But again, just driving back to the section, you can drift it back as well. You'll find that most people will, and I will show you the variation of this line as well at the end of the video, which is the public lobby line, which is what everybody else runs around here. So again, just breaking it down, making sure you remember, and I think what we're going to do more than anything is track guides to every mainline section that people run, and just take it corner by corner. If you're having a problem with one specific corner, practice that corner. Just spend time. Honest to God, drifting, if you've got the basics down, it's just time and practice and learning your transition times. If you transition too late, this is what's going to happen. You end up going off the road. If you transition too early here, for example, well, you're going to go to the inside. Right? So if you want to go wide, you extend it out wider. Maybe use a little bit of left foot brake just to carry it out into the outside. But realistically, you should be, most people run double inside. On the way back, some people run outside. Most people don't, but some people do. So get the car rotated with the weight transfer, give it a clutch kick, get it into the power, hold the power. This car doesn't have a lot of it, so you have to kind of beat on it a little bit. A little bit of brake touch down into the slower corner here, then back up a gear just to get that extra bit of wheel speed, help you carry this outside. Then again, transition over once more, go wide. And I know I'm repeating the same things, and I know I'm just driving the line, but if you understand the line in itself at an absolute raw form, you're going to do a lot better than someone that doesn't actually understand where they're going. If you're conscious about where you're driving and you know how you're actually trying to position your car, you will do a lot better generally than someone that is just going, oh yeah, I'm just going to drift the middle of the track. Because drifting the middle of the track is great, don't get me wrong, it's easy, it's a great way to learn. But if you want to actually think about where you're going, if you think about where you're going, you'll actually get a lot more feedback out of it anyway. So, here we go. We're going to show you the variation now, which is the public line, and I'm going to walk you through it. So we've got the double inside. It's the same as it was up until the point of the last corner. So everything's the same, little bit of brake touch into here. And then transitioning back over again. I'd stay in third for this now because you've got a sharper corner coming up this time. So instead of going out wide and going out wide, what you're going to do is you're going to carry it inside. You go through these cone section down into this little off-road, hit the inside here, then this is the more complex part of the... Oh, it has resets. I forgot this section has resets. Okay, well normally you'd go down there and it loops back round, and I'll show you where it loops back round. Felt like I should have done this in an online lobby, so then that reset isn't there. I didn't realise it was there for single player. Whoops. But normally, and I'll show you this, so normally, because you can still see that's that exit road that I just came out of on the left. And you actually normally throw it down into this corner and then turn around and then come back up this way. So you can see there's that access road. You come down, you flick it in there, and it only works in online lobbies apparently. I thought it worked in single player too, but clearly I don't know everything. Come through here, carry the inside, get up to fourth gear for this little extension, transition over, and then you want to go mid to inside, same way you did on the way down the hill. You're going to go back up the hill, and then you just turn around back up here. It's kind of really annoying that single player has that problem with resets. In fact, a lot of tracks have weird resets and stuff like that, but anyway, realistically, the biggest, you know, takeaways from this video is if you're learning a section, ask what the line is. Once you've seen what the line is, break it down into sectors. This is a really small section I was showing here particularly, just because it's the first one, and it's more just a discussion about how to actually learn a section and how to break it down and know your line, and it's also a feel it out thing. So you have to spend time practicing to actually learn it. The one thing you'll probably struggle with is going from that double inside to the outside on the first corner, getting that extension in this car. You need to be committed to the throttle. Then when you come up into the next corner, you are going to be a little on the brakes. You don't want to be too much on the brakes, but you want to be a little on the brakes just so you can get one wheel locked up, so you can slow it down, but without, you know, completely stopping the car really harshly, floating it out into the outside. Not necessarily the biggest deal. You can go inside and then go back outside afterwards if that's easier for you. It probably will be. But then you want to go out into the outside. As soon as you've done that, once you've left that outside, that's when you then start thinking about transitioning over to the other side of the road. Or alternatively, you want to switch it up. You know, you can use a bit of the outside to the inside. You can switch it up as you go. But if you're in regular public lobbies and you see Streets of Willow, that's normally the first half of the line that most people are running. Unfortunately, I can't show you the rest of the line because this game single player is weird. But I hope you all have a fantastic day. I hope this was informative. And we hope to see you soon again. I will be back over the next few weeks. It should be next week, but I'm not going to put any guarantees. I work a lot, and I'm trying to do this on the side of working. But we are covering tuning next week, or the next episodes. Suspension is specifically the next episode on its own. It will be a longer episode because we're going to deep dive into every single suspension setting and what it does in regards to a drift car. Right, because there isn't a single thing out there when it comes to tuning for drifting specifically that's actually accurate. Just from the experience of, a few people in the community that have all said, look, there's nothing here. We need something for the new guys that are, coming in and learning. So many people, I speak to so many people, oh, have you got a tune? Have you got a tune? And it's more like, I haven't quite understood why people haven't figured it out, but then I looked it up and I realized that there isn't a lot of content out there, and what content there is out there, it's not actually drifting related, it's more racing related. Because it is a racing game after all. So we're going to be covering drift tuning. So setting up for a drift car. But it'll be suspension, which will be part one, and then everything else will be in a second part, which will be probably equally as long, but they're probably going to be realistically about half-an-hour episodes. So just give me a little while to, because I need to write some notes and read off some notes as I'm doing it. So that will be out over the next week, maybe two, tops. I'm hoping to get it out for next week, but I can't guarantee. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's been it from us here at the Apex TV. We'll be back soon with some more content, and look out for show matches over this weekend because we've got plenty coming. Ta-da.